News about human victories traveled through space faster than anyone expected. Alien soldiers from dozens of different species started asking to fight alongside humans instead of their own commanders. General Vexren was not happy about this. His authority was being challenged by primitive soldiers from a backwater planet. Colonel Bae Soo-jin had been a tank commander in the Korean army before the aliens took her. Now she was leading mixed units of humans and aliens against devourer strongholds. Her tactics were completely different from anything the aliens had seen before. She used speed and surprise instead of slow, careful advances. The alien generals held meetings about the human problem. They had expected humans to die quietly and reduce enemy numbers through sacrifice. Instead, humans were winning battles and making other species look incompetent. Some alien commanders suggested that humans should be eliminated before they became too dangerous. But the war was still going badly for the Alien Council. The Devourers controlled more territory than ever, and their machines were getting smarter. Each battle was harder than the last. The Council needed human victories even if they did not like human methods. Bae Soo-jin started asking questions that made the aliens uncomfortable. She wanted to know why the war started and why the Devourers seemed to be defending their territory instead of attacking new areas. The alien answers kept changing and never made complete sense. During a raid on a Devourer data center, Bae Soo-jin found something that shocked her. The enemy computers contained historical records that told a very different story about the war. According to Devourer records, the machines had tried to make peace with the Alien Council many times. The machines had offered to share technology and resources in exchange for being left alone on their ancestral worlds. But the Alien Council had rejected every offer. They wanted complete control over Devourer territory and all the valuable resources hidden there. Master Sergeant Kim Jae-ho led a team deep into Devourer territory to gather intelligence. What they found changed everything. The machines were not the mindless killers that alien propaganda described. They were protecting cities full of peaceful machine citizens who just wanted to live their lives. The Devourer military was actually holding back their most powerful weapons. They could have destroyed the alien fleets years ago, but they were trying to minimize casualties on both sides. They hoped that eventually the Alien Council would realize that the war was pointless and make peace. Kim Jae-ho watched Devourer machines caring for their wounded after a battle. He saw them building hospitals and schools in areas they controlled. He realized that humans had been lied to about everything. The good guys and bad guys were completely backwards. When Kim Jae-ho reported his findings to other human commanders, they faced an impossible choice. They could keep fighting for the aliens, knowing that they were helping to destroy innocent people, or they could rebel and face certain death when the aliens turned their weapons on Earth. The decision became easier when human intelligence officers intercepted alien communications about the future. After the war ended, humans would not be allowed to return to Earth. Instead, they would be moved to prison planets, where they could never threaten alien authority again. The Alien Council had never planned to honor their promises. They saw human military skills as too dangerous to allow free. The plan was to use humans to win the war, then eliminate them as a threat. Earth itself would be stripped of resources and left as a dead world kernel. Bae Soo-jin called a secret meeting of all human unit commanders. They met in an abandoned space station that had been damaged by Devourer attacks. The discussion was short, and the decision was unanimous. Humans would no longer fight for the Alien Council. The rebellion would begin during the next major battle when alien forces would be spread out and vulnerable. But first, the humans needed to contact Earth and warn their home planet about what was coming. The aliens would not forgive human betrayal lightly. Back on Earth, Defense Minister Park Young-ho received the encrypted message from his soldiers in space. The contents made him sick with anger but not surprise. He had never trusted the aliens, and now he knew why Earth had exactly 1 month to prepare for an alien invasion. The human soldiers in space began making secret alliances with Devourer forces. It was strange negotiating with machines, but the Devourers were reasonable and willing to cooperate. They provided humans with better weapons and information about alien weaknesses. As the final battle approached, both sides prepared for a war within a war. The aliens expected to crush the Devourer resistance with human sacrifice leading the way. Instead, they would face a combined human and machine alliance that would change the galaxy forever. The aliens had made two terrible mistakes. They had underestimated how quickly humans could learn and adapt in warfare, and they had failed to understand that humans fight hardest when they are protecting innocent people from bullies. On-Earth communications specialist Lee Yansu worked in a secret government facility in Seoul. Her job was to monitor alien transmissions and look for information about the war. She had been working 18-hour days since the humans were taken, away trying to learn more about their situation. Lee Yansu had created computer programs that could translate alien languages by comparing them to human speech patterns. It was slow work because alien minds thought very differently than human minds. But she was getting better at understanding their communications. One night, while analyzing a batch of intercepted signals, her computer found something unexpected. Hidden inside normal military communications were much older data files. The computer had accidentally decoded historical records from the Devourer machines that went back thousands of years. What Lee Yansu read made her hands shake with anger. The Devourers were not the evil conquerors that alien propaganda claimed. They were refugees who had been running from alien expansion fleets for centuries. Their crime was living on planets that the Alien Council wanted to control. According to the records, the machines had tried every possible way to make peace. They had offered to share their technology in exchange for being left alone. They had proposed joint colonies where aliens and machines could live together. They had even offered to give up some of their worlds if others could remain free. The Alien Council had rejected every offer. The official reason was that machines could not be trusted because they were not biological, but the real reason was greed. The Devourer worlds contained resources that the aliens wanted, and machine technology was more advanced than alien science. Every attack that aliens claimed was unprovoked aggression was actually retaliation for alien raids on peaceful machine settlements. The war had started when alien fleets had destroyed a Devourer colony world that contained millions of innocent machine civilians, including children. Lee Yansu realized that Earth soldiers were not fighting to protect the galaxy. They were helping to complete a genocide that had been going on for thousands of years. Human weapons were being used to kill the last survivors of a species that had only wanted to live in peace. She immediately sent encrypted messages to every human commander in space. The information had to reach them before the next battle, where they would unknowingly help massacre more innocent machines. The transmission took hours to reach the war zone, but it arrived just in time. Lieutenant Commander Han So-young received the message during a planning session for the assault on the last major Devourer stronghold. She read it 3 times before she could believe what it said. Then she shared it with every other human officer in the fleet. The reaction was immediate and angry. Human soldiers had signed up to defend their planet from invasion. They had accepted the risks of fighting in space to protect their families back home. They had never agreed to participate in murdering innocent people who were just trying to survive, but the humans faced an impossible situation. If they refused to fight the aliens, would destroy Earth in retaliation. If they continued fighting, they would be helping to commit crimes against innocent machines. Either choice meant that good people would die. The decision became easier when human intelligence officers found more alien communications. These messages discussed what would happen to humanity after the war ended. The aliens had never planned to honor their agreement. Human soldiers would not return home to their families. Instead, all humans would be transported to slave worlds where they would work in mines and factories until they died. Earth would be stripped of all valuable resources and left as a dead rock floating in space. The human population would be reduced to a few thousand who would serve as workers and nothing more. The aliens had brought humanity into their war as disposable tools. Once the tools were no longer needed, they would be thrown away like garbage. The only reason Earth still existed was because the aliens needed human soldiers. To finish their genocide, Han So-young called a secret meeting with human commanders from every unit in the fleet. They gathered in the cargo bay of a damaged transport ship where alien surveillance could not reach them. The discussion was short because everyone already knew what had to be done. Humans would no longer fight for the Alien Council. Instead, they would join forces with the Devourers and fight to stop the genocide. They would also fight to protect Earth from the inevitable alien retaliation. It was treason against their supposed allies. But it was the only choice that good people could make. The meeting ended with plans for a coordinated rebellion that would begin during the final assault on the Devourer stronghold, when alien forces were committed to battle and spread across the system. Human units would turn their weapons on their former commanders. Back on Earth, Defense Minister Park Young-ho received warning messages from space and began preparing for war. The aliens would not forgive human betrayal. They would come to destroy Earth as soon as they realized what had happened. Earth had maybe 6 weeks to prepare defenses against technology that was centuries ahead of human science. It seemed impossible, but humans had gotten very good at doing impossible things since the aliens had arrived. The war was about to come home. The Battle of Procyon 7 was supposed to be the final victory for the Alien Council. Their largest fleet had surrounded the last major Devourer stronghold and was preparing for a massive assault that would end the war forever. Admiral Kekstar stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching thousands of ships move into attack positions. Human forces were positioned at the front of the formation, as always. They would absorb the worst enemy fire, while alien soldiers followed safely behind. But Colonel Bae Sujin had very different plans for her people. She had been in secret contact with Devourer commanders for 2 weeks. When the battle signal was given, human ships did not attack the machine stronghold. Instead, they turned their weapons on the alien fleet. The surprise was complete. Alien commanders could not believe that their disposable soldiers were shooting at them. Captain Lee Dongwook now commanded a captured alien destroyer after his original ship was destroyed in the previous battle. He led a squadron of human fighters in coordinated attacks on alien command ships. The humans had spent weeks studying alien ship designs and knew exactly where to hit them. The rebellion was not just happening at Procyon 7. Every human unit across the galaxy activated at the same moment. They had been planning this for months using secret communication networks that the aliens had never detected. Human soldiers seized weapons depots, supply bases, and communication centers on the IA, alien homeworld of Zentara. Human garrison troops captured the planetary defense grid and turned it against the alien government buildings. The message was broadcast across the galaxy in dozens of languages. Humanity was no longer fighting for the Alien Council. Admiral Kekstar watched his carefully planned battle turn into complete chaos. Half his fleet was fighting the other half, while Devourer forces joined the battle on the human side. The machines provided humans with advanced weapons and tactical support that made them even more dangerous. The fighting was brutal and desperate. Alien forces still outnumbered the human rebels by 10 to 1, but humans had advantages that numbers could not overcome. They fought with the fury of people who had been betrayed and lied to. They knew that defeat meant the death of their entire species. Staff Sergeant Oh Kyung-soo led a boarding party onto an alien battleship. His team used techniques they had learned fighting Devourers, but now they were fighting their former allies. The aliens had never expected to defend against human tactics, and their security was useless. The battle raged for 6 hours across 12 star systems. Human forces could not win a direct fight against the full alien fleet, but they did not need to win. They only needed to survive long enough to escape back toward Earth. Their sacrifice had given the Devourers enough time to evacuate their remaining civilians as alien reinforcements arrived from across the galaxy. The human rebels began a fighting retreat toward the edge of Council space. Every human ship that could still fly joined the desperate run for Earth. They fought running battles through 3 star systems, leaving burning alien wrecks behind them. The journey home became an epic chase that lasted 2 weeks. Alien pursuit fleets followed the humans through hyperspace, trying to destroy them before they could reach Earth. Human engineers worked miracles, keeping damaged ships flying long enough to make the next jump. Private Song Hye-jin had become an expert at modifying alien technology during her months in space. Now she used her skills to turn captured alien weapons into devastating surprises. Human missiles that looked harmless suddenly revealed multiple warheads that could destroy entire alien squadrons. The cost was terrible. More than half the human fleet was destroyed during the retreat. Thousands of brave soldiers died protecting the ships carrying wounded comrades back to Earth. But the survivors carried something more valuable than their own lives. They carried knowledge about alien weaknesses, When the human fleet finally reached Earth, they found their home planet transformed. Defense Minister Park Young-ho had used the warning time well. Cities were hidden under energy shields. Mountains had been carved into fortress complexes. Orbital stations bristled with weapons, but Earth faced an enemy with technology that was centuries ahead of human science. The alien pursuit fleet was already entering the solar system, and it was huge. Hundreds of massive ships that could destroy planets were moving toward the small blue world that had dared to rebel. The final battle would be fought in the space around. Earth human forces would make their last stand defending the planet where their species had been born. It seemed impossible that primitive human weapons could defeat advanced alien technology. Yet humans had been doing impossible things ever since the aliens had first arrived. They had survived battles they should have lost. They had learned to use alien technology better than aliens could. They had turned a war of conquest into a war of liberation. As both fleets prepared for the battle that would decide humanity, his future, one thing was certain. The aliens would learn that forcing humans to fight had been the biggest mistake in galactic history. The species they had thought was weak and disposable was about to show them the true meaning of strength. The war had started when aliens dragged humanity into their conflict. Now it would end when humans dragged the galaxy into a new age of freedom. The final battle would prove that sometimes the smallest planet can produce the biggest. Heroes. The war was going very badly for the Alien Council. The machines called Devourers had eaten up 17 whole star systems in just 2 years. Admiral Kekstar was running out of options. His fleets were losing every battle, and his people were scared. The Council had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, but now they faced complete defeat. Kekstar looked at the star maps in his command room. Red marks showed where the Devourers had won. Yellow marks showed where his forces were retreating. There were very few blue marks left to show Council territory. The Admiral made a decision that went against all Council laws. He would find new soldiers from a forbidden world, far away from the war. A blue planet called Earth spun quietly around its yellow star. The people there had no idea about the Galactic War. They fought small wars among themselves and dreamed of reaching the stars someday. Captain Lee Dongwook was fixing a satellite above Korea when the sky suddenly filled with massive alien ships. The ships were bigger than mountains, and they blocked out the sun. Every city on Earth received the same message at the same time. The voice spoke in perfect Korean, Chinese, English, and every other language. The message was simple. Earth would provide soldiers for the Galactic War, or Earth would be destroyed. President Kim Dae called an emergency meeting in Seoul. Military leaders from around the world gathered by video link. General Park Jin-woo from the Army and Admiral Choi Min-ho from the Navy listened as the aliens explained their terms. Earth had one day to decide. The aliens wanted 1 million of humanity's best soldiers. Some leaders wanted to fight back, but the aliens quickly ended that discussion. A beam of light shot from their biggest ship and hit the moon. The entire surface melted and cooled into a strange symbol that could be seen from Earth. The message was clear. Earth had no choice. Major Park Jin-woo had fought in 3 wars and earned many medals. He had never been scared of any enemy, but these aliens terrified him. Their technology was beyond anything humans could understand. Yet when he looked at his soldiers, he saw something the aliens had not expected. He saw people who would not give up even when facing death. The alien ships landed in fields around the world. Tall gray beings with 4 arms stepped out. They spoke in mechanical voices and handed out strange devices that translated languages. They said Earth soldiers would be given weapons and armor. Then they would fight until the war ended or until they died. Lee Dongwook was chosen because he was a pilot. Other humans were chosen because they were soldiers or engineers or doctors. The aliens did not care about human families or human dreams. They only cared about having enough bodies to throw at their enemies. Private Song Hyejin was a computer programmer before the aliens came. She had never held a real weapon, but now she was being loaded onto a transport ship with 1,000 other confused humans. The ship was cold and dark. The aliens who guarded them never spoke or explained anything. The journey to the war zone took 2 weeks. The humans tried to learn about their situation, but the alien guards refused to answer questions. The only thing they learned was that the war had been going on for 50 years, and that many alien species had already been defeated. When the transport ships finally stopped, the humans found themselves at a massive space station. Alien soldiers from dozens of different species filled the corridors. Some looked like giant insects. Others were made of living metal. A few looked almost human, but with strange colors and extra limbs. Sergeant Yu Taeman had been a police officer in Busan. Now, he was being handed an energy rifle that he did not understand. The alien weapon instructor spoke for 5 minutes and then walked away. The humans were expected to learn everything else by fighting. The aliens told them about their enemy. The Devourers were machines that could think and build more of themselves. They had been expanding across the galaxy, eating up planets and turning them into more machines. Every battle against them was desperate because they never stopped, and they never gave up. What the aliens did not tell the humans was that they expected all the human soldiers to die. Within a few weeks, human soldiers would attack first and draw enemy fire while the real alien soldiers followed behind safely. The aliens had done this with other primitive species and it had worked well, but the aliens had made a big mistake. They thought humans were just like every other species they had conquered. They thought humans would follow orders without question and die quietly when their time came. They did not understand that humans had something most alien species had lost long ago. Humans still knew how to hate their enemies. Humans still remembered how to fight dirty when their lives were in danger. And most importantly, humans had learned through thousands of years of war that sometimes the best way to win was to refuse to lose no matter what the cost. As the first human soldiers prepared for their first battle, none of them knew that they were about to change the entire war. The aliens had brought humanity into their conflict expecting to use them as disposable tools. Instead, they had just armed the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The alien extermination fleet filled the sky above Earth like a swarm of metal locusts. Admiral Kekstar had brought every available ship from across the galaxy. More than 2,000 vessels armed with planet-killing weapons surrounded the small, blue world that had dared to rebel against Council authority. On Earth, General Kim Tae-ho coordinated the planetary defense network from a command bunker deep beneath Seoul Mountain. Every major city had been turned into a fortress. Every civilian had been trained to fight. The entire planet was ready for war. Admiral Park Soman commanded what remained of the human space fleet from the bridge of a captured alien battleship. Her ships were outnumbered 20-1, and most were damaged from the fighting retreat through 3 star systems. But her pilots were the best in the galaxy and they knew they were fighting for their home. The battle began when alien bombardment ships tried to destroy Earth's orbital defenses. Human fighters swarmed out to meet them like angry bees protecting their hive. The small fast ships used tactics that aliens had never seen before, diving through formation gaps and attacking from impossible angles. Master Chief Yoon Junsu led a desperate mission to capture the alien flagship. His assault team used modified Devourer technology to break through alien shields. Then they fought deck by deck toward the command bridge. Their goal was not to capture the ship, but to destroy it in a way that would terrify every alien commander. The fighting in space was matched by battles on Earth. As surface alien landing craft tried to establish beachheads in major population centers, but they found that every human city had become a deadly trap. Streets were mined, buildings were armed, and civilians fought alongside soldiers. In Tokyo, former engineer Kang Min-soo had turned subway tunnels into a maze of hidden weapons. When alien troops entered the underground, they found themselves under attack from every direction. Children threw grenades from ventilation shafts while elderly people operated missile launchers from concealed bunkers. The aliens had expected to face primitive human technology. Instead, they encountered weapons that combined alien science with human creativity. Human missiles could change course in flight to avoid defenses. Human fighters could repair themselves during combat using alien nanobots, but the cost was terrible. Human ships exploded in silent fireballs above Earth. Cities burned under alien bombardment. Millions of people died defending their world from an enemy that had superior weapons and overwhelming numbers. The turning point came when Master Chief Yoon Junsu's team reached the alien flagship's power core. Instead of trying to capture the massive ship, they rigged it to explode with the force of a small sun. The explosion was visible from Earth's surface and destroyed dozens of nearby alien ships. The demonstration of human willingness to sacrifice everything for freedom finally broke alien morale. Many alien commanders had been having doubts about the war for months. They had seen too many of their own people die fighting humans who refused to surrender ship after ship began withdrawing from the battle. Some alien captains sent surrender messages to human forces. Others simply fled toward the edge of the solar system. The great alien fleet that had seemed invincible began falling apart as its commanders lost the will to fight. But victory came at a price that would take generations to heal Earth. As cities lay in ruins, its orbital facilities were destroyed. Millions of people had died defending their world from alien invasion. The beautiful blue planet was scarred by war, yet humanity had survived. And in surviving aliens dragged humanity into battle. Now they're paying for their mistakes. The space station was called Kepler Base, and it was huge. Human soldiers walked through corridors that seemed to go on forever. The walls were made of some kind of metal that changed colors when people walked by. Everything smelled strange, and the gravity felt different than Earth. Sergeant Yu Taemin looked around at his squad. They were all scared but trying not to show it. Private Nam Siwoo was only 19 years old and kept asking when they could call home. The alien guards just ignored all human questions. They treated the humans like animals being prepared for slaughter. The first briefing was held in a giant room with hundreds of different alien species. Human soldiers sat in one small section, while aliens filled the rest. The commanding officer was General Vexran, who looked like a giant lizard with too many teeth. He spoke through a translator device that made his voice sound like grinding metal. General Vexran explained the mission the Devourers had taken control of, a planet called Zerion 4. The alien army would attack the main city while human forces would assault the outer defenses. Human casualties were expected to be total. The general said this like it was normal. The humans were given old weapons that barely worked and armor that had holes in it. Other alien soldiers got shiny new equipment and vehicles. The message was clear. Humans were meant to die while real soldiers did the important work. When the transport ships arrived at Zerion 4, the sky was red and the ground was covered in strange metal structures. The Devourers had changed the planet into something that looked like a machine. The cities were gone, replaced by towers that hummed with electricity. Sergeant Yu Taemin led his squad toward their target. They were supposed to attack a Devourer communication center. The plan was simple: run straight at the enemy and keep shooting until everyone was dead. The aliens called this a direct assault. Humans had other names for it. The first wave of human soldiers charged across the open ground. Devourer machines immediately started shooting. Energy beams cut through human ranks like a hot knife through paper. Half of Taemin's squad died in the first 30 seconds, including his best friend Nam Siwoo. But something happened that the aliens did not expect. Instead of running away, the surviving humans got angry. Instead of giving up, they started thinking. They looked for cover behind rocks and metal debris. They studied how the enemy machines moved and where they shot. Private Song Hyejin was the first to notice that Devourer machines always shot at the largest group of targets. She started splitting her people into smaller groups and attacking from different directions. The machines could not track all the small groups at once. Staff Sergeant Oh Kyung-soo remembered reading about guerrilla warfare in history class. He started using tactics that the aliens had never seen. Human soldiers would pretend to retreat, then ambush enemy machines that followed them. They would hide explosive devices in places where enemy patrols walked. The alien commanders watched in confusion. Every other species they had used as cannon fodder had simply died quietly. But humans were different. When half their unit died, the survivors fought harder. When their weapons broke, they used rocks and metal pieces. When they ran out of ammunition, they attacked with bare hands. Song Hyejin discovered something important about human technology. Human computers worked differently than alien computers. When she connected her laptop to the alien communication equipment, it created interference that jammed Devourer signals. This gave human forces a huge advantage. The first battle lasted 3 days instead of the total defeat everyone expected the humans won. They destroyed the communication center and captured Devourer technology. The alien generals could not believe it. No one had defeated the Devourers in a straight fight for 20 years, but the victory came at a terrible cost. 2/3 of the human forces were dead or wounded. The survivors were exhausted and running low on supplies. Yet when General Vexran offered to evacuate them, the humans refused. They wanted to keep fighting. Word of the human victory spread quickly through the alien fleet. Other species that had been losing for decades suddenly had hope. Maybe the war could be won after all. Maybe these strange humans from the small blue planet were different than anyone expected. What the aliens still did not understand was that humans fought for different reasons. Other species fought because they were ordered to fight. Humans fought because they were angry about being forced into a war they never started. They fought because they wanted to protect their friends. They fought because giving up was not in their nature. The Devourers also noticed that something had changed. Their machines started sending different signals back to their command centers. The enemy was no longer predictable. The enemy was learning and adapting faster than their programming could handle. As the human survivors prepared for their next mission, they began to realize something important. The aliens had brought them here to die, but humans were very good at refusing to do what was expected. They had survived the first battle. Now they would show the galaxy what humans could really do when they stopped following alien orders.